And with that, the Green Bay Packers are now 6-7 after a 24-22 loss to the New York Giants. The Packers are out of the playoffs as of now. Sure, they can still get in, but it is going to be a tough road. Anytime you say the Packers have an easy schedule going into the game, you might as well just chuck that out the window because bad teams that are told that they're underdogs are going to play well most times, and any coach with their soul is going to coach that team up. And the Giants, I've said earlier in the video or my preview video that the Giants could absolutely win this game. This is a true trap game for the Packers, and the Packers fell into the trap. Jordan Love didn't look great, but let's get into the video. If you like the video, thumbs up, all of that. But let's talk about it. Jordan Love tonight, not efficient at all, overthrowing guys, taking bad sacks, or running. And also, this is on the coaching. Running that stupid reverse play. It worked the first couple times, but after it got stopped, you don't run it again. Once a team stops you on a trick play like that, you don't keep running it. There's a one terrible reverse play in the third quarter that just went nowhere. Just absolutely went nowhere. And just several times, Jordan Love was inaccurate. Just didn't look sharp. The Giants were ready to play. They rushed him with efficiency, as opposed to the Packers defense, who was unable to provide any rush against Tommy DeVito, who did not have the greatest game in the world, but in terms of rushing the ball, he just kept rushing and running and running. Every time the Packers had a potential sack on Tommy DeVito, he would just slip out and become the modern day equivalent of Colin Kaepernick. Just he would be a decent person and not the piece of crap that Colin Kaepernick is. But just inability to get to the quarterback, cause sacks, and just giving up yards and yards. And that final drive didn't help that the Packers were unable to convert on the 2-point conversion. But that last catch by Robinson was just like, are you going to tackle? Just flat out, just missed tackles left and right. I understand the whole point of playing off the quarterbacks or allowing them nickel and dime run clock. But if you're going to do that, you actually have to make a tackle. You actually have to put them out of bounds or just do anything to stop them. But the Packers just provide no rush at all, and the Giants were able to run all over them. Barkley didn't have the greatest game in the world, but he did give the Packers a chance to win. That unencumbered error by Barkley to nearly fumble away the game. He did. He really did fumble away the game for a time. The Packers brought it down the field and scored, but of course, too much time left on the game. And let's talk about this a little bit. The touchdown to Malik Heath. How many feet in bounds do you have to have before it is called a touchdown? He had a catch, 1, 2, 3. He had 3 steps and a catch in bounds, but the ball just happened to squirt out at the end. Oh, it's not a touchdown. It's not a touchdown. And it's just, I gotta give credit to the on-screen referee tonight, John Perry. He did a pretty good job. He wasn't a floundering idiot like any of the other guys in all the networks, McAuliffe and that idiot on CBS. I mean, he's terrible. But I just don't understand why that's not a touchdown catch. Don't understand it at all. Let's talk a little bit more about the Packers, though. Offense played just well enough to win the game, but ultimately the defense failed. There were special teams turnovers. That dumbass fumble by Keyshawn Nixon was just awful. I don't think we didn't see him return any more kicks the rest of the game, as rightly we should, because that was awful. I mean, he fumbles the ball away, gets the ball back, is on the ground, but then gets up. If after you fumbled, just stay on the ground. I know great plays in NFL history have been made off of such plays where gotten up and turned it into a touchdown, but not in that scenario is that going to happen. Not at all. I still have faith in Jordan Love that he'll continue to progress, but remember, this again is an evaluation year. And as much as I think the Packers can still make the playoffs, they're still in a driver's seat because they have wins over certain teams behind them. It's still going to be a tough road because as easy of a schedule as the Packers have going forward, they're playing the Panthers, who, yes, they're a bad team, but the Panthers are just the kind of team that the Packers would lose to. Tampa Bay, who is not playing great, but they've shown they have some decent players with shot right, the everlasting Mike Evans, and a decent defense. Then you have the Bears, who have been playing very well, and even though I think the Packers would still beat the Bears just because of historical precedent over the past couple of years, not an easy matchup by any stretch of the imagination. And then the Minnesota Vikings, who did not play well this week. Dobbs is probably done in Minnesota, to be honest. Nick Mullins should probably be the quarterback going forward, just through the case he could develop into something else, and you don't have to turn to Kirk Cousins next year. But none of those games are easy by any stretch of the imagination. Just look at this game with the Giants. All the announcers, all the picks were like, oh, the Packers are going to blow out the Giants. Oh, they're going to get this big win. They're going to really show up. It's just like, nope, this is just the type of game the Packers always seem to lose. They play in New York where they don't play well, or actually more like New Jersey. But they didn't play well tonight. They did not deserve to win. The offense played well enough at the end. And yeah, it's just a disappointing game all around. Would have been nice to have some of their good players on the field, like Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, or Jair Alexander. Maybe I'll give Aaron Jones a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt because he's been such a good player for us. But Christian Watson is as soft as they come. Jair Alexander seems about as soft as they come too. Yes, I've never had any of the injuries that these guys have had, but let's be honest. Availability is your best strength in the NFL, and if you're not available, you're not collecting those checks like you should be. You should be out there with your teammates. Yes, if you're physically incapacitated to play, like Luke Musgrave. Luke Musgrave played a couple weeks ago with a lacerated kidney. Christian Watson can't go out there without a bad hammy. Same thing with Jair Alexander. Enough of the injury rants. The Packers going next week. They do have a chance to win, but let's face it, they need to be better in all facets of the game, especially in their defense. Joe Barry, do something. I know you're not going to do anything. I know you don't have the ability to empathize and adjust in the middle of the game. I know you don't have the ability, but maybe it'll surprise me. Jordan Love is still a work in progress. He's still a good bright spot for the Packers' future, and I can't wait to see him next week. Improve on what he did this week, because you can't play like this again and expect for the Packers to make the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. And yeah, again, Tommy DeVito with the MVP performance tonight, even though it wasn't that great. He made the plays when he had to, and he slipped through that Packers defense like a rat through a trap. Just grab that cheese and go, especially at the end of the game. He had made some good throws, and the Giants deserved the win tonight. The Packers didn't do enough to win, and that's the worst kind of feeling, disappointment in your team. I didn't expect the Packers to blow them out. I expected a close win. And, of course, they lose it in the end in another heartbreaking fashion. But Packers lose, and we just move on, keep evaluating, and hoping the Packers get better. Because we know we can do it. They have a young team, and they're only going to get better. But things have to change at times. And we know a lot of those changes that need to be made are going to be made into the offseason. So let me know what you think of the video. Otherwise, have a great day. As always, God bless, and go Pack Go.